Good evening, I'm Adrienne Arsenault.
And I'm Andrew Chang. Tonight, an emergency debate on a tense dispute.
The appalling violence in Nova Scotia must stop now.
But what about the folks at the heart of the story? We hear from two of them.
This is the period I'm most afraid of.
The wider fears if homeowners cannot meet the mortgage.
What you may find is that the hands get really dry and really irritated quickly.
New recalls of hand sanitizers, what to look for and where.
And 2 weeks till the U.S. election.
This is a lifetime election. It's time to end the divisiveness.
The message from early voters. This is The National. MPs are embroiled in an emergency debate to address violence against Mi'kmaq lobster fishermen in Nova Scotia.
They're in conflict with non-Indigenous commercial fishermen who say the Mi'kmaq are endangering the lobster population by starting their season too early. Now, over the weekend, a building where the Mi'kmaq store their catch was burned to the ground. And the RCMP has been criticized for standing by for weeks as tensions flared. Today, it's clear this issue has seized the government as the opposition charges that it failed to contain a crisis. Now, the Mi'kmaq's constitutional right to fish was upheld by the Supreme Court, but for 21 years, governments have neglected to define precisely how much they can harvest. In a moment, we're going to take you to Nova Scotia. But first, Olivia Stefanovich has the politics.
I am so appalled at the delays from this government in the response, and it's a miracle that nobody has died.
The appalling violence in Nova Scotia must stop now. It's unacceptable, it is shameful, and it is criminal.
A debate triggered after escalating tensions over the launch of a new lobster fishery by the Sipekne'katik First Nation.
Indigenous people have been let down by the police, those who are sworn to protect them.
The Indigenous Services Minister condemned the RCMP, while the Public Safety Minister was more guarded.
We've heard those concerns, and we're working hard to resolve them.
Bill Blair defended his government's decision not to call in the military as requested by the band. Instead, it boosted RCMP resources, as called for by the province.
Well, this isn't a military operation. It is a peacekeeping operation.
The leader of the opposition.
An operation, the opposition says, where the government is missing in action.
Leadership means acting before people get hurt.
When will the Prime Minister step up, protect the Mi'kmaq people, their constitutional right, and end the violence?
Last night, the Prime Minister spoke to the Premier of Nova Scotia, who is calling on Ottawa to implement a 1999 Supreme Court of Canada ruling that affirmed Mi'kmaq's treaty rights to earn a moderate livelihood from their catch. But the minister responsible says she can't define moderate livelihood on her own.
I don't think any First Nation wants the federal government to have a top-down approach.
Instead, the government says it needs to negotiate with bands individually on what a moderate livelihood means, an approach to balance the rights of the Mi'kmaq with commercial fishermen, one that has led to agreements with other First Nations, but has failed to resolve the latest conflict so far. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, Ottawa.
Now, at the epicenter of this conflict, things have quieted down from recent days, but the atmosphere is undeniably tense, and people talk openly about safety concerns. Kayla Hounsell has that from southwestern Nova Scotia.
Mi'kmaq fishermen are still out on the water today, and so is a Coast Guard vessel on a watchful patrol of St. Mary's Bay. The Sipekne'katik First Nation says support of a different kind is on the way.
It's definitely been an emotional roller coaster for our people. There's fear, sadness, frustration. We're sending a team down for some mental health preparation or make sure everybody's okay.
Members of Indigenous communities from across the Maritimes are here. They say they're trying to protect people and property.
This could escalate into personal injury and even worse. And that is something that concerns the residents there. They don't know what's going to happen next.
The responsibility of this chaos in the last 2 weeks lays directly at the feet of Bernadette Jordan.
Former Fisheries Minister Sterling Beliveau led a protest of non-Indigenous commercial fishers outside Department of Fisheries offices in southwest Nova today. He says their only concern is to conserve the lobster stocks.
I want a community that is peaceful and it lives in harmony with both sides, And we need to collectively come to this bargaining table. And it's tearing our communities apart as I speak.
As the dispute unfolds, restaurants in Nova Scotia and beyond are taking lobster off their menus.
Nobody has an appetite for it, and there's a lot of heated debate going on, and so I just think it's probably for the best that we try to do whatever we can to help speed up that process.
Chief Sack says he's increasingly concerned about more confrontations. In 6 weeks, commercial lobster boats will also be out on the water for the start of their season. But he maintains his people will not give up. Kayla Hounsel, CBC News, Soniaville, Nova Scotia.
And a bit later on The National, we'll take you to the roots of this conflict to see why it's come to this, and I'll speak one-on-one with leaders on both sides of the matter.
More than 200,000 Canadians have now tested positive for COVID-19. That threshold crossed today as British Columbia confirmed it is in its second wave. It added 174 new cases today, nearly 500 in total when you add in the weekend numbers also announced. Alberta saw 356 new cases in the last day, nearly 900 including the weekend. Saskatchewan posted its biggest one-day number yet, 66. And Quebec topped everyone else, adding 1,038 new cases today. Now, those case numbers are concerning on multiple levels, including an economic one. Alberta has the most mortgage deferrals in the country. And as Aaron Collins tells us, at a time when home has become that much more important, some are worried they could lose theirs.
Fall cleanup is underway at this Edmonton home, a welcome slice of normalcy during a pandemic. Something else that's back to normal, the mortgage is being paid here after being deferred for 6 months.
Luckily, all I had to say was I'm a travel agent, and they were like, done.
The decision to defer, an easy one. Geneva Espahel was out of work due to the pandemic. Her husband, an oil and gas worker, had already had his hours cut.
I mean, we were already bad enough with the oil and gas industry, and then now with COVID hitting, I see a lot of families struggling.
As of August, nearly 1 in 5 insured mortgages in Alberta had been deferred, by far the highest rate in the country. But now that the program is winding down, some see trouble ahead. Well, this Calgary home just sold, but for about 20% less than it would have 5 years ago.
Classic Canadian bungalow.
Yeah, 3 bedrooms up, 1 bathroom.
This real estate agent believes prices will continue to drop as people who had deferred their mortgage are forced to sell, flooding the market with new listings.
So you think things are going to get worse before they get better?
Yes, absolutely. There are no new jobs, so no demand is coming into the city, and we have an increase in sellers with more product, so more supply and less demand.
The Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation predicts home prices in Alberta could fall by as much as 10%. But the head of the CMHC doesn't believe there will be a huge increase in people forced to sell their homes in the province.
So there's something like a quarter of our labor force right now is on CERB or EI, and that's going to help people pay their mortgages.
Of course, those programs won't last forever. The worry for Alberta's real estate market is that the pandemic and the slowdown in the energy sector could outlast the aid programs keeping many Albertans afloat. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Calgary.
Air Transat will lay off more than half of its remaining flight attendants. The union said 128 people received notices last week. The company will also close its Vancouver base. Air Transat blamed its decision on Canada's border closures and a lack of support programs for airlines.
More disappointment for kids today in Ontario's COVID hot zones. The provincial government officially recommended they not go trick-or-treating this Halloween. But as you'll hear from Magda Gabrsalase, some doctors don't agree.
Okay. A hallway filled with trick-or-treaters. It's a Halloween tradition for the Murphy family and their neighbors in this Toronto condo.
We all huddle together and travel together up and down so that we all go to the same apartment together.
But now we can't huddle together.
We cannot huddle together. Just us.
Woody, Chucky, Elsa, and their mom and dad are staying in this year, a move the Ontario government is recommending for many in the province.
I don't want to be the bad guy out there that says kids can't go trick-or-treating.
Still, he's asking anyone living in the COVID hotspots of Peel Region, Toronto, Ottawa, and York Region to do just that.
We're trying to say in those hot zone areas, we don't want the historical version of groups of piles of kids running around from neighborhood to neighborhood, and they're congregating, they're gathering, they're sometimes talking to adults in different groups. There's very little control over it.
Trick-or-treating.
This infectious disease specialist says celebrating outside should be fine, with distancing, masks, and other precautions.
Trick-or-treating is sort of the ideal kind of activity when you think about it from that perspective. I think on top of that, when you juxtapose this to what kids are mostly doing during the day, which is being indoors with a bunch of kids together in a classroom, this is definitely a lower risk activity compared to that.
He's concerned that people will lose confidence in public health officials, even as he plans to follow the recommendations. So will the Murphys. Instead, they plan to throw a Zoom party with their neighbors, something they hope won't need to become a tradition.
I think we'd all like to go trick-or-treating in the future.
A future Halloween where masks are just for fun. Magda Gebrselassie, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, Canada may have 200,000 cases, but the United States has more than 200,000 deaths. Compare those and you see why the presidential election seems to have only one issue. As Katie Simpson tells us, today Donald Trump attacked the country's top infectious disease expert.
The president knows Americans have COVID fatigue, and he's using it as part of his campaign, telling huge crowds of mostly maskless supporters what they want to hear.
Normal life will rapidly return. That's what we want. Normal. Go take us back 7.
Donald Trump's rallies today echoed much of what he told campaign staff on a conference call, saying Americans want to be left alone, while lashing out at Dr. Anthony Fauci, the country's top infectious disease expert.
People are tired of hearing Fauci and all these idiots, these people that have gotten it wrong.
Well, I don't think a likely reason for Trump's fresh frustration, Fauci was on the show 60 Minutes last night.
Were you surprised that President Trump got sick?
Absolutely not.
Fauci criticized the White House for holding large gatherings with little physical distancing.
When I saw that on TV, I said, oh my goodness, nothing good can come out of that. That's got to be a problem.
Democratic nominee Joe Biden, who has long defended Fauci, did not hold any public events today as he's preparing for Thursday's debate, though his running mate campaigned in Florida.
I had to come here on the kickoff of early voting in Florida, because y'all are gonna make it happen.
Long lines spilled out of polling stations on the state's first day of early in-person voting. Trump is confident the enthusiasm is for him.
This is the single best I have ever been in any campaign. We're gonna win. I wouldn't have said that 3 weeks ago.
Joe Biden is leading in the national polls, though his campaign does not want to appear too confident, fearing Democrats won't show up because they assume he's already going to win. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
Now, as you heard Katie mention, Donald Trump and Joe Biden will debate each other on Thursday, and this one, the last, will feature a mute button. The Debate Commission announced the new rule tonight. Trump and Biden will have their microphones muted for parts of the debate to prevent interruptions. The commission said changes were necessary after last month's chaotic first debate. Now, Russia has hit a record daily rise in COVID infections. There were nearly 16,000 new cases on Monday, a third of them in Moscow. At almost 1.5 million, Russia has the world's fourth highest number of COVID cases.
We have now reached the difficult decision to introduce a 2-week fire break.
And starting this Friday, everyone in Wales will be required to stay home. The only exceptions will be essential workers. All countries of the UK are seeing a resurgence of COVID cases.
Ontario's Blue Bin recycling program is getting a major overhaul. The government announced a plan today designed to shift the cost from taxpayers to producers. But as Tashana Reid explains, some critics say the changes just aren't enough.
Even after 4 decades of the blue box in Ontario, 70% of waste still ends up in the landfill. Now the province wants to shift to a producer responsibility model. putting the onus on producers to collect and pay for the waste they create.
In the case of the Blue Box program, we'll provide up to $135 million per year in relief for municipalities.
In addition to residential waste, blue bins at schools, long-term care homes, and parks will be included in the new plan. And more materials will be accepted into blue bins, like soon-to-be banned single-use plastic items.
The recycling targets.
But environmental groups say the new draft regulation comes up short.
The scope is really too narrow. They are not addressing the 2/3 of waste that are generated in the industrial, commercial, and institutional spaces, so in places like restaurants or malls.
This advocate says enforcement will be key.
If you're not actually enforcing the regulation, there would be little incentive for producers to make the kinds of investments in innovation or technology, or maybe even completely new delivery systems to eliminate this kind of waste.
Others say the targets need to be higher and come into effect sooner.
I see in the regulation that they're not contemplating having any kind of binding targets or targets that are enforceable by 2026. That's 5 years from the launch of this regulation.
British Columbia already has an extended producer responsibility model for its curbside programs. And this expert says oversight is critical.
I think where Ontario takes a step forward, and I think they've learned some things from BC, is that you need better accountability.
A regulatory body will oversee Ontario's with a promise for producers. Miss the targets, pay the cost. Tashana Reid, CBC News, Toronto.
An update now on a story we first brought you earlier this month. Allegations of harassment temporarily shut down a Montreal training centre for some of Canada's top artistic swimmers. Well, tonight, in an exclusive story, our colleagues at Radio-Canada Sports reveal what some of the athletes are saying. Diane Sauvé explains.
4 members of Canada's artistic swimming team training in Montreal are speaking out despite fear of reprisals. We've agreed to keep their identities confidential and alter their voices.
Enough is enough. It needs to change.
The swimmers say an incident that forced the closure of the center upset several athletes. Head coach Gabor Zauder allegedly made what was qualified as racist and hateful comments.
He said that all Muslims are extremists, and that when was the last time you saw a white person crash a plane?
Sean Ormond retired from the senior national team 2 months ago.
The abuse that I witnessed regularly at the pool was just something that I did not want to be a part of anymore.
She says Gabor Zauder was verbally abusive on a trip to China in 2019.
He said if we ever swam like that again, he was going to hit us so hard we wouldn't know what happened.
The comments were allegedly made in front of the whole team and directed at alternates after a pre-competition warm-up. His explanations came later. Not good enough, say these swimmers.
He just said that we all misunderstood what he had said, and that he was going to hit us with a really hard workout.
According to the swimmers, Gabor Zauder has a habit of singling out athletes and would often lose his temper.
There's been times where he's yelled at girls to the point that they have had panic attacks on the pool, in the gym, and then he'll continue to yell at them, harass them, and swear at them.
Gabor Zauder also reportedly made comments of a sexual nature. Sean Ormond remembers a time when she felt very uncomfortable.
He said, "Sean, zip up your hoodie before I get too excited," in front of multiple athletes. And that's just, like, this is a 47-year-old man.
It wasn't until she retired from the team that she said she found the courage to finally speak up to her parents.
I knew that that comment is just so inappropriate and like it shouldn't have been said. And I was scared of what, sorry. I was scared of what my dad would do or say.
These swimmers say they feel Canada Artistic Swimming let them down when incidents were reported.
It's just been dismissed constantly that, you know, he's Eastern European.
We would often get talks afterward and said we are not mentally resilient enough, so it made us more and more fearful to report it.
Canada Artistic Swimming has refused our interview request due to the ongoing review. In a written statement, head coach Gabor Zauder denies all of the allegations. He says he's confident that the review will find no form of misconduct on his part.
As for these athletes, if nothing changes, they are seriously considering retiring from the sport. Diane Sauvé, CBC News, Montreal.
Well, Health Canada has recalled more counterfeit hand sanitizers.
What you may find is that the hands get really dry and really irritated.
Up next, what you need to know to tell the real from the fake.
Plus, what a Biden or Trump presidency could mean for Canada.
That, in my opinion, would be devastating to Canada.
We look at the state of that relationship.
And later, returning a piece of history.
I was shocked and delighted. This was an artifact from those early days.
How a 200-year-old saber found its way home. We're back in 2. Well, since the beginning, the pandemic has fueled a huge demand for hand sanitizer. But Health Canada has a growing list of brands that pose a risk. Today, 3 more were recalled. The products include Birds and Bees Distillery with 70% ethyl alcohol, plus 2 brands from Pure Essentials Incorporated. And yesterday, Daily Shield hand sanitizer was recalled after a counterfeit version was discovered to be for sale. So, what is the potential danger with hand sanitizer, and how do you suss out the good ones from the bad? So here's the problem with hand sanitizers. The process of making them is really complicated. They have to be pure, powerful, but also safe enough to rub into your skin. So that's where the recalls come in. So take a look at this. This is a list of all of the hand sanitizers that have been recalled in Canada. More than 100 in total. And if you scroll through, one of the common reasons that you see is improper labeling, but another big one is the presence of potentially harmful contaminants like methanol or ethyl acetate.
Methanol, we would see in more like antifreeze, things like that. If there's ethyl acetate in it, what you may find is that the hands get really dry and really irritated quickly.
Now, don't worry about remembering the names of any of those compounds because you will never see them written on an ingredient list. So what can you look for on a label to know whether or not hand sanitizer is safe? Well, one thing you can look at is the active ingredients. Health Canada, at the start of the pandemic, started allowing the use of technical grade ethanol, strictly controlled and on a case-by-case basis. The reason you don't normally see it is because if you're pregnant or if you are breastfeeding or if you use too much of the stuff or you inhale too many of the fumes, it can be unsafe and that should be indicated on the label. But Health Canada decided to allow it because there was a shortage of food grade ethanol and it decided the benefit of clean hands outweighed the risks involved. Now, let's be absolutely clear on one thing. For most of us, technical grade ethanol is safe.
They're allowed to use certain technical grade ethanols that are approved that have fewer contaminants in them.
So the most direct way to know whether your hand sanitizer is legitimate is simply to look it up. And I promise it's really easy. All you have to do is Google Health Canada authorized hand sanitizers. You would follow the link, and there you'll find a list of every single one that's been approved, and you can simply search for the product by name. If it's on the list, then you're good to go. If it's not on the list, then you want to stop using that hand sanitizer immediately and take it to a pharmacy so that they can dispose of it properly. But just remember, universally agreed upon is that better than hand sanitizers is washing your hands with soap and water.
After the break, Justin Trudeau's relationship with Donald Trump. The challenges of the past 4 years and what could happen after the election.
But first, more on the lobster dispute in Nova Scotia. We're going to hear from both sides next. Welcome back. To better understand the violent dispute over lobsters and livelihoods unfolding in Nova Scotia right now, let's look back at how it all started.
There's not going to be 10,000 Micmacs out there. You know, there's certain people that their livelihood depends on fishing, and we're not going to fish it out, that's for sure.
At the heart of it, the story of Donald Marshall Jr., who more than 20 years ago fought for the Mi'kmaq right to catch and sell eel out of season. The Supreme Court upheld that right, allowing the Mi'kmaq to earn a moderate livelihood. But fast forward to 2020, through 2 decades of negotiation, unanswered questions about just how far that ruling should go. What does a moderate livelihood even mean? And the Mi'kmaq have had enough. For the first time, the Sipekne'katik First Nation put their rights to the test, licensing a small handful of their boats to start the lobster season early. Non-Indigenous fishermen saw that as a direct threat to their livelihoods. What followed was tension, intimidation, and violence. So what's unfolding in Nova Scotia right now is complicated. So many facets of this require clarity. The role of police, for one thing, and of the federal government as well. But let's spend the next few minutes trying to better understand what's happening on the ground and why. Starting with Chief Mike Sack of the Sipekne'katik First Nation. Chief Sack, thank you for taking the time to join us. I want to ask you about why the change this year in terms of deciding to fish outside of the designated season.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. For us, it's a matter of timing. It took our community a while to go through the process, taking our management plan to the community and have their approval. We have a good team put together that took a while to do. It wasn't about what year it was. It's just a matter of making sure we had it right and rolling it out. It's been a long time coming. I wish it was 20 years ago, but here we are, and we're going to make a go of it.
And why was it not possible to earn this, so-called moderate livelihood within the normal lobster fishing season?
It comes down to economics, I would say. Our people only have these little 20-foot boats, and the commercial ones are these $1 million 45 to 50-foot vessels that our guys cannot compete with. So we had to adjust our seasons to fit that.
What do you make of the conservation argument, though, that fishing early outside of that season puts the entire fishery in jeopardy?
No, I applaud Mr. Jordan for today at the question and answer period there. She did mention that the lobster stocks are strong, so that's great for us. Also, the matter of conservation is the #1 priority for us. And all around Nova Scotia, there's seasons that are open throughout the year. You look at Maine, south of us, they don't have a lobster season. It's open all year round, so that's not going to affect the molten or the seeding or anything like that.
Okay, so we've seen what happened. We've seen the backlash from non-Indigenous commercial fishermen. So how to de-escalate from this point? And I ask that in the short term, but also how to find a long-term solution here.
Yeah, so my personal opinion is that the law enforcement side would really help with the short term, escalating the crimes and stuff. If those are cracked down, charges are laid, that would help calm the waters. In the long term, we're moving quickly with DFO, Minister Jordan. Once the commercial industry understands what we're actually rolling out as our own fishery, I'm sure they'll feel different about it. We don't have this big elaborate fishery. It's very self-sustained but very modest fishery.
Is there any long-term solution besides everyone else stay back, let us do what we want to do?
Yeah, there definitely is. The federal government to uphold our right like they're doing so, but also in a matter of not letting the commercial industry infringe on that.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Chief Sack, I appreciate you taking the time to join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next let's link up with Colin Sproul, who heads the Bay of Fundy Inshore Fishermen's Association. Thank you for joining us. So Chief Sack seems to suggest that it wasn't possible for them to compete economically during the regular fishing season. So, to exercise their rights, reaffirmed by the Supreme Court of Canada decades ago, they're catching lobster and selling them early. What's the problem with that?
Well, in response to that, I would say a couple of things. Many of the vessels that Chief Sack's nation is using to engage in commercial fishing right now were bought from commercial fishermen who engage during the commercial season in those vessels. The second point I would say is what's largely been lost in the wash is that Sipekne'katik possesses 15 commercial licenses to fish during the commercial season, as well as appropriate boats to go with them. And I think that this fishing activity in St. Mary's Bay is really not sustainable, and it's obviously a double-edged sword for Atlantic First Nations, given that they're the largest single access holder to participate during the commercial season.
But don't the Mi'kmaq make up such a tiny fraction of the entire industry?
Well, during the commercial season, after the current round of implementation, estimates are that Atlantic First Nations will possess more than 10% of the access to lobster fish in Atlantic Canada, with 2.5% of the population in Nova Scotia. Let's be clear, it's not appropriate for anyone to fish in a closed lobster breeding ground during the molting season.
Let me ask you this. Is it really up to individual fishermen to take the law, and not just the law, but its enforcement, into their own hands? And I'm thinking about instances of cutting traps, for example.
Well, I would say that the violent incidents that took place over the last couple of weeks in Nova Scotia were completely uncalled for, but licensed in-season commercial fishermen have a duty to retrieve ghost gear from from the Atlantic Ocean. And when gear retrieval was taking place, that was taking place within Canadian law and the Fisheries Act.
So let me wrap just with this one more question. Because my sense from you is that allowing Mi'kmaq fishermen to fish outside of the regular season is a red line for you. So if that's the case, how do you ever see eye to eye? How does this ever end?
Through dialogue. And I think that as Canadians, we should expect that for everyone. A large majority of Canadians agree with us. We've conducted research in August through Nanos Research, and it showed that 80% of Canadians think we should solve these problems at a dialogue table that includes all participants in the fishery, as well as the minister. And I think that it really points to the fact that this cabinet is completely out of touch with Canadians' views on it.
Okay, Colin Sproul, we didn't have a lot of time to chat, but I appreciate the insights that you did give us. Thank you for your time. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Up next, looking back on Canada's relationship with Donald Trump. What the past 4 years have taught this government and what the future could look like. Plus,
suburban women, will you please like me?
winning the votes in battleground states. We hear from women on both sides of the aisle in Pennsylvania. The Canada-U.S. border closure has been extended, meaning non-essential travel will be restricted until at least November 21st. Now, last week, Justin Trudeau said the border would remain shut as long as U.S. COVID cases remained high. Contrast that with Donald Trump's comments. He said Canada wanted the border open and that it would happen, quote, pretty soon. This is just the latest example of the two leaders appearing to not be on the same page. something that has happened time and again over the last 4 years. With the presidential election right around the corner, Chief Political Correspondent Rosemary Barton takes a look back and into the future at what the next 4 years could hold.
Perhaps the one part of Canada's relationship with the United States that is a constant is how it ebbs and flows with its leaders while remaining somehow workable. Until, that is,
I, Donald John Trump.
Donald Trump arrived on the scene.
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
Upending the relationship with this country and others on issues like trade and international cooperation. For the past 4 years, Justin Trudeau's government has worked relentlessly to manage that, sometimes stumbling. Like the one time President Trump visited Canada to attend the G7 in Quebec. After the United States imposed steel tariffs on this country for, quote, national security reasons, the Prime Minister struck back at the closing press conference.
Canadians were polite, we're reasonable, but we also will not be pushed around.
Perhaps a reasonable response.
There's a special place in hell for any foreign leader that engages in bad faith diplomacy with President Donald J. Trump.
But Trudeau quickly felt the anger of the president, who called the Prime Minister dishonest. And on the relationship went. Through complicated negotiations on the new NAFTA, which at times the president threatened to rip up entirely.
But Canada has treated us very badly. They've treated our farmers in Wisconsin and New York State and a lot of other states very badly.
To criticism of Canada and others for their contributions to NATO.
Where are you now in terms of your number? We're at 135? 1.3? 1.4.
Trump's chaotic style of leadership has kept Canada on its toes, but Canada remains the largest trading partner of the United States and is dependent on the success of that relationship for a large share of its wealth. So even when Canada is being used for domestic political reasons, as it was most recently when the president hit this country yet again with more tariffs, this time against aluminum.
Earlier today, I signed a proclamation that defends American industry by reimposing aluminum tariffs on Canada. Canada was taking advantage of us, as usual.
Canada had to respond with a promise of its own retaliatory tariffs.
We will be taking action to counter the unjust tariffs put on Canadian aluminum by the United States.
Until the U.S. eventually backed down last month, which is why the Deputy Prime Minister, who has managed a lot of this back and forth, explained things this way.
There are no guarantees going forward. As we have learned, there are not in our trading relationship with this administration. That's why we're always clear that we will impose retaliatory tariffs if tariffs are levied against our exports.
In spite of the complications, Sarah Goldfeder, a former special assistant to 2 U.S. ambassadors to Canada, says regardless of the outcome of this election, the Canada-U.S. relationship will always come with challenges.
The issues that kind of remain the same, regardless which administration you've got, you have to manage. And so I think all of the trade issues that we find tricky, softwood lumber, and even to some extent steel and aluminum.
There may be a more natural alignment between the Trudeau Liberals and a United States run by Joe Biden, starting with the fact that the two just seem to get along, as evidenced when Biden came for a state dinner back in 2016.
We're more like family, even than allies. I really mean that. At least that's the way the vast majority of Americans feel about Canada and Canadians. It's like family.
Under Biden, the United States would rejoin Canada in the Paris Climate Agreement and return to the international stage as a real player in multilateral organizations like NATO and the United Nations. But there are also challenges with the Biden administration. This former U.S. ambassador to Canada and a Republican says Biden would not be the answer to all of Canada's problems.
The first thing he said he's going to do is rescind the presidential permit for the Keystone Pipeline, and that, in my opinion, would be devastating to Canada, particularly Western Canada, and have a severe impact on all the the energy jobs connected with that.
Whatever challenges Biden may present, he certainly offers more predictability, and that may make life here a little easier. But again, the former ambassador says Canada shouldn't worry too much.
The United States is going to be your friend, your best friend, regardless of who's in the White House, regardless of who's in the Prime Minister's office.
That may be true, but this government, this country, will still be watching closely to understand just what we will have to deal with for the next 4 years. Rosemary Barton, CBC News, Ottawa.
And still ahead, why American suburban women are key to success on election night. We ask voters in a battleground state what's at stake for them. Next.
You ever regret having a crazy mom?
Mom, these are my friends.
I'll show you how to play a real drinking game!
What kind of stupid question is that?
I'm Jamie Poisson, and tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast Front Burner, 36 years and one wrongful conviction later, Christine Jessup's cold case is finally solved. But what questions remain? Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. With just 2 weeks until the U.S. election, both campaigns are focused on key battleground states, among them Pennsylvania, where suburban white women played a major role in Donald Trump's 2016 victory. So what about this year? Stephen D'Souza shows us.
Amidst the tree-lined, well-manicured lawns of Pennsylvania's suburbs is one of the closest watched demographics in the election, one that pollsters say could tip the balance of power in this battleground.
My hope is that
Sarah Becker is a lifelong Republican. A mother of three, she worked in the White House under George W. Bush, and this year, she's voting for the Democrats. She even joined a group called Republican Voters Against Trump.
I truly remain dumbfounded that this is the reality we're living in. I can't believe it's real, even after 4 years.
If Joe Biden hopes to take Pennsylvania's crucial 20 electoral college votes, he'll need a surge of support from women like Becker. Becker has long been upset with Trump. She wrote "Never Trump" on her 2016 ballot. She says she won't be alone in supporting Joe Biden.
I think a lot of people in 2016 were what I call Trump curious. I think it was all fun and games back in 2016 when we didn't have the coronavirus crisis that we're facing now. And I think people are seeing now is not funny anymore. The Twitter stuff isn't funny anymore. This is serious stuff, and when we needed a leader, we had a train wreck.
I think it was a moment of relief.
In 2017, after watching crisis after crisis in the Donald Trump White House, Sandy Arnell had enough. She left the Republican Party and registered as a Democrat.
The Republican Party has no room for any other opinion but kowtowing to a sycophant.
She says the president's dismissal of science and his lack of leadership during the coronavirus pandemic only confirmed that she made the right decision.
I'm disgusted, I'm dismayed, I'm disturbed, I'm just fed up with it.
The trend of women leaving Trump began in the 2018 midterms, where suburban Philadelphia sent 4 women to Congress, flipping 3 Republican seats.
We have to figure out what we want action items to be for next week. Whether we want
Democratic organizers see that momentum continuing with some help.
I've absolutely been talking to Republicans who tell me that they can't wait to vote for Joe Biden.
But they're not taking anything for granted. Hillary Clinton had a lead here before she lost the state.
Even though we're seeing some polling results that look promising, every vote matters.
And we will make America great again. Thank you very much.
Donald Trump knows how vital suburban women are to his re-election hopes.
So can I ask you to do me a favor? Suburban women, will you please like me? Remember? Please. I saved your damn neighborhood, okay?
Yeah, the enthusiasm for the president is tremendous, and the Democrats cannot slow us down, can they?
But Trump can count on a solid base of unwavering support. In this crowd, his handling of the pandemic gets good reviews.
Can you imagine living in one of these cities where the anarchy is rampant?
And his law and order message resonates with staunch supporters like Olivia Braccio.
So I think domestic terrorism, and these people are domestic terrorists, I think that is the most important issue in this election.
Polls here show Biden with a solid lead, but Braccio says many Trump supporters fear a backlash if they voice their support for the president.
And I know a lot of women and a lot of minorities who are supporting Trump. There is a silent majority, and we're getting to be not so silent.
Back at Sarah Becker's, she hopes Republicans will put party loyalty aside and give the country a chance to heal.
I think of our country right now as like on life support, like slowly beeping. I think if we can turn the corner in November, I think there's hope for us. I think if we are subjected to 4 more years of this, I don't know that we make it.
Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania.
Well, next on The National, a grandfather and grandson team up to bring home history. How they got back this almost 200-year-old ancestral artifact.
This 40-plus hangover is not going to get the best of me. You watch me.
These are going to cool you down. Just
Okay, I think I'm going to need more.
Can you file this?
You file it!
How much did you drink?
I just have a rose spritzer.
Oh, that would do it. Yeah, for sure.
Jack Marshall never knew that the saber he now holds in his hands once belonged to his ancestor, Captain Joseph Marshall. It all happened when his grandson, Sam, stumbled on a news article about a rusty saber found in a wall during renovations. He got curious, connected some dots, and then the saber came home. And that is our moment.
This saber is a British cavalry saber. I had sent Lucas, my son, a paper that I found in my records that he had written when he was back in school, and it was about Captain Joseph Marshall.
My dad read me the article he wrote when he was a kid. I was kind of interested in the American Revolution, and I just looked him up on the internet.
And all of a sudden we found out we had this, and that was thanks to Sam digging up the CBC article. I set out then to try to track down the owners of the saber. We had a little negotiation. Sam helped me do a little research. We were able to make a deal, and I now have the item in question in my hand. I was shocked and delighted. Been ravaged a bit by time, but to have that and that connection with our ancestors, I think, is pretty unique.
Okay, so Jack has a great memory. Sam, some excellent internet sleuthing. This 245-year-old saber that might have been involved in a murder back in the day and then hidden in an evidence locker, then mysteriously shoved in a wall. That in itself is a movie of the week.
Yeah, right. And how lucky is it that the saber was found in this wall, and that a CBC journalist wrote an article about the finding of this saber, and then that this boy was interested enough in his own ancestry to Google the article and find the saber and then get it back to his... Anyways,
exhausting.
I am tired. That's the National for this October 19th. Have a great night.
Good night.